And welcome to Coffee with a Purpose, everyone. This week, our topic is the um, Community Preservation Act projects that have been brought to the Community Preservation Committee, and I guess endorsed, not endorsed, not recommended, but brought by the committee to fall town meeting. And so the chair of the committee, our very own Bill Ramage, will be kind of walking us through those a bit with hopefully assistance from me or Sarah, assuming I can be at the computer to bring up the pages from the Fincom recommendation book that has charts. I don't see anybody here that doesn't know everybody else. If anybody wants to feels they need to reintroduce themselves, have at it. But and
I just want
since
to say hi, everybody. I just want to
yes,
say
Hi,
hi,
that
Judy.
everybody.
is true, Judy. Yes, we know you, but
I
it's
miss
great to
seeing
see
you
you again
all.
here. Yeah,
And I'm excited to hear today's chat and miss you
yeah.
all and love how engaged you all are in the community. And I am shamefully like losing my knowledge base. Like, I don't know. It's crazy. All right. That's all.
That's fine. And speaking of town meeting though, I seeing Donna joining, just wanted to congratulate the whole team on the being successful on the turf field moratorium article. That was a big task and you guys pulled it off. So congratulations. Um,
Thank you so much.
yeah. Bill, I'll turn it over to you. And do you want me to go ahead and screen share and get that first project up on the screen?
Uh, no, give me a minute and
Okay.
then do it.
Yeah.
So thank you all for coming. The Community Preservation Committee is recommending 7 projects to town meeting. The rules around town meeting is the legislative body of this town. And as such, they have rules around what we can say and how motions are introduced and so on. So the committee in the past 2 years has developed a process, has accepted applications, has vetted those applications all in public hearings and public meetings, has then voted to forward 7 projects to town meeting. So we are the ones who vet and review and accept applications and forward them to town meeting. Town meeting then decides whether to accept the project as presented, accept the project with a lower dollar amount, or reject the project. So we are the folks who recommend, and town meeting is the group that decides. So what I wanted to do today is to talk about each of the projects and give a very brief discussion of, or like 2 sentence summary that I have in front of me that describes the project. And then I'll leave it up to you whether you want me to read the motion. I can read one of them and you'll see why I don't think you need to hear them all. They're very dry. They identify the exact dollars that come from which pot and so on. And we've talked a little bit about that in past meetings, but I can explain any of that if anybody has questions. So my thought was, I'll throw the projects up one at a time, give my 2 sentence introduction, and then throw it open for questions on that particular project, and then just roll through the projects 1 through 7. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Hearing no objection. Doug, could you bring up the fence? These projects are presented to you in the order they were presented to the Community Preservation Committee. There's no special thing about. Oh, this shows the motion if anybody wants to read it, which I am not going to read. But you can see the fence on the left. This project will restore and preserve the existing cast iron cross and arrow fence with removal of existing deteriorated paint and corrosion and the application of a marine grade finish, assuring the integrity and longevity of the fence for the future as a town of Natick monument and memorial. The restoration of the fence is essential to preserve the character of the Natick Historic District. The total cost is estimated to be $236,650, and the CPC committee recommended that with a vote of 8-0 with no abstentions. The motion again talks about where the money is coming from, and with that, I will throw it open for questions. It's a really neat fence, by the way. 17 something, 18 something it was built. Help me out here.
Bill, am I correct that the fence at the bottom of the hill is not going to be replaced? We're just talking about the fence at the top of the hill, which is deteriorated.
My understanding is the entire fence is going to be taken apart and removed, sent to the vendor and restored. So I, as far as I know, it's the entire fence, Martin. Brindley?
Sorry.
Unmute yourself.
Sorry, I was having a hard time unmuting myself. Yeah, that's what I'm remembering, is that the entire fence is being removed and taken to a facility. And just a brief history for myself, I worked in the marine industry for a really long time, and I worked in sheds on really large boats. And we did a lot of historical type preservation stuff with boats. And I can say that I was very happy to hear that they wanted to take it down and take it to somewhere, because the quality of work will be exponentially better by doing it in a facility designed to do this type of work. If you've been down there and looked at the fence, or even just any wrought iron fence, you'll notice there's a lot of intricacies, and it's really hard if you're standing there with it in place to try to actually get everything off. And it's to make it clean, and it's just like painting your house. The paint job can only be as good as the foundation work. So if you don't do a good job cleaning it, you don't get a good paint job and a good cleanup. And so I think it's wonderful. And I actually spend a pretty decent amount of time down in South Natick, and I am so excited about this project. I really think it's going to be great.
Yeah. To work, I get a lot farther than you were, but okay. So Shaman, I'm turning the video off because I'm not dressed for this.
Doug, you want to mute Jay?
Yeah, sorry. Let me mute him.
My video is off. The camera's not working here. Okay.
Yeah.
So are there any other questions? This is pretty straightforward. The one question we expect is that it's a lot of money
refurbishing of the
to
fence,
restore a fence.
the wrought iron fence around the Bacon Free Library.
And the answer is pretty much that it's a big fence, and it's a big project, and it's being moved to another location, as Brindley says, to do it right. There was discussion of other alternatives, and they were not as good. This would also involve much less disruption on the streets surrounding the fence.
So Bill, you probably don't know this, but does it come down in sections or all at once?
I don't know the answer to that. That would be up to the contractor. I would presume it would be sections, but I don't know that.
And it'll take.
Are you asking? Are you? Let me just ask that. Let me ask you back that question. Are you meaning, are they going to work on a section at a time, take it away and bring it back a section at a time, or are you asking if the whole fence is going to be taken at once and worked on? Can you specify that question?
Yeah, it's the latter. And I guess what I'm wondering is, when will we see it again once it's, if it's all taken at once, how long is it gone? I'm just curious.
I can answer that. The estimate is 7 months. So they want to take it down after it gets approval and work on it over the winter and reinstall it in the spring.
Yeah, they will take the whole thing. They will take the whole thing at once. They'll number every piece, and they'll take it and work on it together, because as they're working on it, things can break. And if they're not able to match the pieces to put them together, and they'll do it as a whole project.
It also makes a difference just in terms of them coming back and forth to the site. It's more
Yeah, yeah.
cost effective
Yeah,
to do it at
yeah.
once rather than to keep coming
Yeah,
back
yeah.
and forth.
And depending on where they have to take it, it's huge. Do we know that? Does it go to Maine or where's it go?
I should know the answer to that, and I don't off the top of my head.
Well, it'd be interesting if there were a plaque afterward, because people, will wonder when it's all gone, is it coming back? Or, I mean, something that alerts people there on the site to the fact that it's being redone and how it's being redone, where it's being done will generate interest, and how it's being funded will generate interest, your tax dollars, et cetera. And
We talked about that, Rick, and there will be some kind of recognition that it's a community preservation project, your tax dollars at work. And I think you mentioned something else that we're going to do as well, but
well, just afterward to have some sort of more permanent plaque that says when it was done, why it was done, and just sort of puts a date on the history of it. I don't know if there's any particular historical story, but if there were a website QR code that could be permanently put in to the town archives, or whatever. You guys will figure it out.
Just quickly, that's been discussed, Rick, and
it
is not included. The funding for that is not included in the project, but the Historic Association is very interested in, and the Bacon Street Free Library is interested in doing that. Martin?
Great. Okay, thanks. Great project.
Martin, did you have a question?
Yeah, I believe there may be a requirement in the CPA Act that projects funded through the CPA should have identifiers of where the funding came from. At least I've seen many of those signs around other communities in Massachusetts. So that would be the basic, funded by the CPA. And the other stuff seems like it's a good idea to add that as well. There's no reason you can't say a little bit more than you're required to say.
Yeah, no, the committee has definitely talked about this, and this is on our radar that, the specifics for each project haven't been worked out yet, but we definitely have that on our radar.
Cool.
I can't find the contract or the location, but it's available. You really want to know, send me an email and I'll get it.
I can wait till it's done. So
okay. If there's nothing else, let's go to the second one. All right, this is the project. The Natick Affordable Housing Trust is proposing a 2-year request of $300,000, $150,000 per year for rental assistance and security deposits to be distributed in partnership with the Natick Service Council, Family Promise, Metro West, and Council on Aging and Human Services. By establishing this collaboration, we will leverage existing resources from these organizations while encompassing a diverse constellation of households, including seniors, individuals, and families in our community. Total project is $300,000 to be paid $150,000 each year for 2 years. So the estimated time frame is about 2 years. Just a quick couple of comments. I personally, and I think the Community Preservation Committee was intrigued isn't the right word, but impressed, I think, is the right word at the collaboration of these 3 entities to make this work. They're all doing work in this area, and this is an extension. So I think that's a big plus. The other thing I would say is that this target group, as I understand it, and Judy is here to correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding is that this project would help folks who are at the 61% to 100% of the adjusted portable median, the median income of the town. Sorry for the, got to get the right acronym. And that's a group that is not covered by federal and state and local funds, so that it's a new group of folks who are in need of assistance who have not been able to get it in the past. So Judy, if you want to correct me if I said anything wrong or add anything.
No, it's particularly that group in the 80% of area median income to up to 100 who struggle and for whom there are no vouchers or anything like that. We know that at up to 80% of AMI, there are affordable housing units around that one could apply for and move to, but not rental assistance, not cash to help you maintain your stability where you are.
So that's kind of a donut hole, huh?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Never mind. Okay.
Why don't we go to Pat?
Yeah, I just had a question. Bill, is there any funding for the Glen Street project, or is that another project? I don't know. The one South Natick, they're trying to do affordable housing down there.
Do you mean 5 Auburn Street?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Auburn St.
That's later.
Later.
Hold that thought.
Okay. Thank
Cindy.
you.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued by this. I guess I sort of had the idea that CPA funds went for something kind of permanent, and this is just for 2 years. So I guess I'll just leave it there.
There is much precedent throughout the state for CPA funds to be used in this capacity.
Yeah.
In some towns, CPA has an allocation every year for rental assistance. Framingham has that.
Okay.
This is not proposed as something in perpetuity, but is proposed as a kickstart to support these two agencies in getting something going and creating a track record, collecting data that then can be turned around and sort of peddled to other funders. Once we have a track record, along with the reputation of the Service Council and Family Promise and the Trust working together, we feel that strongly that we'll be able to fund this in the future through other funding streams.
That's fantastic. I hope you or somebody else will say just that at the meeting to give that context. That's so cool. Thank you, Judy.
Just to give everybody a heads up, I am not an advocate anymore. I will be attending, so if I feel so moved as a citizen to share. But in case at any point during town meeting you're like, why isn't Judy jumping in? I need to be careful that I stick to my role and my role as a citizen who is passionate about housing for all.
Okay.
And just out of curiosity, is in 2 years, what kind of other sources of funding have towns found other than CPC funding?
My impression in other towns is that other towns start this as a project that stays in the CPC radar. That is not the intent of this one. Natick Service Council and Family Promise are very skilled at grant writing and identifying private funding streams like that. So foundations, grants, those types of things. And I think that this is also, I am not the person in development who does this, but my impression from talking to my team and from listening to the presentation that both Dan Shea and Danielle gave to the CPC, the intention is to go for those funding streams once we have a track record and the data that supports the impact that this will have on our community.
Awesome.
Thanks. Brinley, did you have a question?
Yeah, I'm actually listening to Judy's comment. This actually brings up a lot of question that it's 2 points. One might be a little off topic, but I'm hoping it's not, is how is this part going to work during town meeting? Who gets to answer that type of question that Cindy just asked during town meeting? Is there going to be an advocate there, or is that going to be something that Bill, you're going to have to stand up? Like, how is that questioning going to work?
My understanding is that either I or Fincom or somebody reads the motion. That has to be read into the record. It's presumably seconded, or it's automatically seconded. And then it's open for debate and discussion. So folks who are in favor of this can say the things that Judy said and recommend that there'd be a positive vote, and people who are opposed can do the same. And when that
So, but who
comes,
answers
and
questions?
good question.
Like
Good
a,
question.
like a,
The question is always directed to the moderator. The moderator then decides who answers the question. So he might look at me or Amanda Loomis or John Townsend, or he may look at the sponsor and give the sponsor permission to speak. But that's
okay.
up to the moderator.
So will the sponsors be there tomorrow night?
I believe so.
Okay. And then, so the last thing I just wanted to say about this is that I have personally come from the personal experience of housing insecurity, and Judy, please correct me if I'm wrong on this, but my understanding is that a lot of times what happens is if people miss that first or second month because of a unforeseen something, then they're much more likely to fall into a further state. And then once you're that far behind, it's just next to impossible to catch up. And that's what really kind of catapults people into a much deeper hole. And so I think a program like this is just truly where we need to be, and great, a great way to spend our tax dollars, because helping to prevent bigger holes is really smart. Really smart.
Brinley, you're causing me to go and look for that statistic. There is a statistic in one of the reports that Natick has put together. I don't remember if it was the 2030 plan or if it was the last housing plan, but it discusses the percentage of households in Natick that are housing cost burdened. That is spending more than 30% of their gross income on housing. And it is a surprising figure, not one that you would expect. Obviously, if you are wealthy, you can choose to spend more than 30% on your housing and still be okay. But if you are middle or modest income, that is exactly what you're talking about. You are one emergency away from putting your housing at risk.
We heard at the hearing that we had, this question came up of, if we give somebody some help once, are they going to keep coming back? And the statistic that said, no, they're not. They're going to get back on their feet and they're going to be good. Again, I don't remember the exact number, but it was amazingly high. These are folks that just, there, but for the grace of God, go I. There's something that, their car broke down, they got sick, something happened, and you help them get back on their feet and they're good to go again. So it seems like a really good approach.
Sorry, not raising my hand. Could I ask one more question?
Sure, and then we'll go to Cindy.
Yeah. Was the amount, the 150,000 a year, determined by existing applications to Natick Service Council or Family Promise for funding from households, or how is it determined who gets the funding and how much? What do they base that on? I just am wondering how you guys work that. That's not off topic for this. It's a great idea. I'm just wondering if that will come up.
Are you asking about what each agency will get? Or are you asking where they came up with the 300,000 across 2 years?
The latter.
The other project.
Yeah, I honestly don't know.
Okay.
But I will tell you that at Family Promise,
Yeah.
You could give us a lot of money and we would still be able to use it. I mean, we're picking and choosing who we can help. The crisis is real. So I'm sorry that I don't have that information, but I will try to track it down for you.
Well, it's not even that I have any doubts about it. It's just that I would imagine that's sort of an obvious question that could come up, is why that amount, who gets it, how do you decide that amount, and who gets it, and is it still going to leave? I mean, should we be doing a lot more? For all I know, I mean, this is completely inadequate.
Just quickly, Rick, I think my understanding is that the Affordable Housing Trust is the one coordinating the flow of funds. Judy, are you or Sarah?
Yes, that's my understanding.
Okay. So the plan is that we would not release money, the CPC or the town would not release money to the Affordable Housing Trust until they are able to document the expenses. So it'd be a reimbursement process, and then it would depend on who is providing the services that would be reimbursed for those amounts. So there are some checks and balances in there, and we'll see how it plays out.
That's helpful, Bill. Thank you.
Did
Okay,
Cindy get recognized yet?
Not yet, not yet.
Cindy.
So I'm watching the clock. And this is a little slidey off the main part of this topic, but I'm just curious how do people who are in that kind of a crunch, how do they know what to do? And is there any effort on the part of maybe the Affordable Housing Trust or anybody else to be in touch with landlords, particularly landlords who have lots of apartments?
Well, one of the partners on this is Council on Aging also. And I can assure you that the households that need assistance tend to know about us.
Okay.
And the agencies that intersect with families and households of adult members who enter into crisis also know about us.
Okay.
Us, meaning all of us. Natick
Okay.
Service Council, Family
Okay.
Promise. We are connected to the schools. We are connected to the Council on Aging. We are connected to the police department. We are connected to each other, right? So the Service Council gets somebody that it doesn't fall in their catchment. They send them to us.
Okay.
We get folks. We get asked this question everywhere we go, and people know about us. The 211 information line at the state refers to us.
Okay.
So any place that somebody intersects with in seeking some sort of assistance or proclaiming a need tends to know about the list of places where someone should check to see.
Yeah.
Not saying that we won't conduct outreach around this as well.
Yeah, it just occurred to me that if I know there are some landlords that have lots of rental properties and if they have a problem with a tenant, it would be good if they knew about it too, because they're the ones that are going to know first if somebody's not paying their rent. Right? Thank you.
Yeah.
Pat?
Yes, Judy or Bill, I was going to ask you, is there any, maybe there was at one time, I think Ricky Ball used to explain it to me. Is there a hierarchy for people who are get kicked up the ladder for these kinds of resources, like veterans, elderly, people of color, anything like that?
No, my understanding is that for this program, this is going to be about seeking assistance that meets the criteria. There's no particular hierarchy, but this is for town of Natick residents. So while Family Promise is a regional agency, this bucket of money will only be for residents of Natick.
Right. Okay.
Hey, Rick, can you keep it short? We've got 6 more of these things.
Yes.
5 more.
Why don't we just say what I'm curious about and not answer it, and maybe I can find the answer elsewhere or talk to somebody else about it. And it's simply, where does the family or individual who gets the money, how do they use it? Is there any sort of accounting for that? And
the check gets written to the landlord. Money
to
goes
the landlord.
directly
Okay.
to the person that is owed the money.
Got it. I get it now. Thanks. And it's only renters, not owners.
These folks have been in business for a long time, Rick. They know how to do it.
Okay. And it's only renters that get it, not people with mortgages. Is that right?
I need to check that actually for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I've gone to the third project here.
Let's go.
Thank you. Okay, this is the Morse Institute Library. The town of Natick is proposing a CPA historic preservation project focused on the rehabilitation and restoration of the original 1873 High Victorian Gothic portion of the Morse Institute Library. Phase 1 of the projects includes existing conditions study and architectural design to guide future restoration efforts. Key elements to be assessed include the slate roof, masonry, windows, moldings, and historic interior features. This work will enhance the preservation of a significant building in the Natick Center National Historic Register Historic District. I just add that this proposal originally was to start doing the work, and the folks on the committee, like Steve Evers, who understand this stuff, said, geez, you really got to know what you're in for. So we recommend that you spend this money to do an assessment with professional historic preservation folks. The other thing I would share that I think is really important is that the town of Natick does most of the maintenance of all the town buildings, including the library. But this work is related to the historic section, and it's outside the skill level and the budget of the folks in town who do maintenance. So this is designed to figure out what needs to be done. It's in the historic preservation bucket, and the projected amount is 115,000, and I believe it's going to be done in the next 10 months is the estimate.
And Bill, I'm sorry I
Anybody?
missed the beginning, but I assume you already said that the CPA can only do, CPA won't pay for maintenance of stuff. So that's the
I
other
did not
reason.
say that. But
That's
yeah.
the other reason for this study, is to figure out, what is truly maintenance that the town could take care of, and what is sort of more of a capital kind of thing that falls into the sort of restoration stuff that the CPA will cover.
Thank you. Questions? I'm fine moving on.
All right.
It's a great project. Anybody that uses the library can look and see.
Yeah, I'll just say that I'm really for this because I know it's a lot easier to get money to fix things than it is to get money to study things, and I think it's wonderful. So I do hope all of us town meeting members vote for this one.
Kathleen, you should weigh in.
Yeah, I just want to encourage everyone to support this as well. When the library was renovated, 95 to 97, they made a wonderful decision to keep the historic part of the building and incorporate that into the new design. So that whole building is still there, inside and outside, and it's just wonderful. And we need to do the work to preserve it. And as Bill said, some of the work requires specialized expertise, and as he said, it's beyond the skills and the scope of time that our DPW has, and they do a lot of maintenance right now. The town puts carpeting in the historic part of the building. The town paints the interior of the historic part of the building, but there are other things beyond that need to be done, and done in a timely way, so that we don't risk further damage to the building. So it's a perfect moment to go ahead with this, and I hope everybody supports.
Thanks, Kathleen.
Thank you.
Wait, I skipped one. There we go. That's the next one, right? I rolled.
The next one is Memorial Beach. There you go. Yeah, that's the best
okay.
picture. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah, I was too quick with the trigger finger there. Sorry.
This project is to provide an additional shade structure to Memorial Beach. There are two current shade structures that you can see. This would add a third one and maintain or keep the two. There's no maintenance money. This is just to buy a new one and install it. Estimated $40,000, and it would be hopefully available next spring for the summer season. I don't have anything else to add. It comes out of the outdoor recreation portion of the CPC funds or CPA funds. Any discussion, questions? Kathleen, you still have your hand up. Did you? Do you want to speak to this? You're muted. Okay. Sarah, can you lower hand?
Yeah, let me up. It just, yeah, sorry. Usually it comes down after a person speaks. So anyway.
All right.
All right.
Brenda,
did you have a question?
I don't have a question, but I have a plug.
Okay. Bring it on.
We're in a friendly environment here, but I can just say, so I can tell everybody that I did go to all of these meetings. I did listen to all of them. I did ask questions when I have them. So when I put my support behind them, it's not willy-nilly. I happen to support all of these. The reason I support this one is I spent probably every single day of my children's youth at Doug Pond. And when they put up the first shade structures, it was life changing for all of us. It used to be we all had to go early if we needed shade because there was only that one spot under the trees to the left, which filled up very quickly. If you wanted to be on the sand, I think moving forward, it's a lot of sun out there. It gets very hot. I would say my impression driving by and still going to the beach is that the majority of the people who still enjoy Doug Pond on a consistent, regular, daily basis have younger children. And so the more space shade we can provide for them, the more people we can have enjoying Doug Pond. And for that reason, I'm really in support of having a third shade structure so that people don't feel like they're fighting to be in the shade with their babies. I also know there's a lot of seniors who like to go, and they also need the shade. We're all concerned about skin cancer and melanomas and sunburns. And so I think that this is a great use of open space funds.
Thanks, Finley. Any other questions, comments?
Brian has his hand up.
Sorry, it's such glare here. It's really hard to see. All right, Brian.
Yeah, my take on this is via my concern about the water quality of the lake. And here we are developing the beachfront even more, and the underlying condition of the water is continuing to downgrade from my point of view. And there's no testing of the water quality that really goes beyond cyanobacteria or coliform bacteria. And these other elements that are coming in volume are unknown and unaddressed. And that whole water quality issue and proactive efforts need to be brought into the CPA realm. Who do we get as an advocate or as a guide to have us create this petition to get this funding and to bring this kind of fundamental basic stuff that I think is an underlying foundation that needs to be reassessed and supported the natural resources of our community. That's kind of bigger than housing or fencing around the library from my point of view. And so could we dig into that a little bit when we get some time?
Sure. Go ahead, Sarah.
Oh, I was just going to say, sort of on a broader term, I think, Brian, I think this is an interesting topic that might merit a separate discussion because it's not truly under CPA, but I absolutely agree that, this is my background of doing water quality testing. So I'm right there with you and trying to do some brainstorming about how we could get some more done. I think would be a really interesting idea. But Bill, I'm sure you have something specific to say about whatever you would say. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that putting a third shade structure will bring more people to the beach, which will hopefully provide more impetus and support for better water quality. So it's indirect, Brian, but hopefully we will tackle this. I don't believe that this would be eligible, that what you're suggesting would be eligible for CPC funding, but the health department and others need to be lobbied, basically. Cindy.
Yeah, seeing that this is $40,000, it makes me just wonder, and I don't know if you planning to address this in the presentation, but I know that 10% of the total has to go to each of the three categories. And right. I don't know what the total is, so I don't know what 10% is, and what the balance is. So just throwing that out.
I should have those numbers at my fingertips. 10% for the 2 years is somewhere around 250,000. That's for 2 years of funding. And that's a rough number. So this would be well within the outdoor recreation pot. The next one is also in outdoor recreation and open space. So yeah, I can share those numbers. I'll dig them up while we're talking. Rick, and then Donna.
Yeah, just quickly, I didn't really have a question, but a comment to Brian. But now to Judy's question, why 2 years? Why are you figuring it 10% on 2 years? Is that the way it's always done, or I
Oh,
know that
no. No, the money is appropriated each year and the pot gets added to each year. It's 10% of the income is added to
right,
each of
right,
these three pots every year. I
right.
was just pointing out that we haven't spent the money for 2 years, so we now have 2 years worth of money
Oh,
available.
okay, okay. I
And
did
it's
not
in
know
that
that.
$250,000 range per pot.
Okay.
Donna.
Like that marshmallow test they give the little kids. You want one
Um,
marshmallow
I
now,
hope,
2 marshmallows tomorrow.
If just
I
quickly,
hope,
no, never
I
mind.
hope you can hear me. I just briefly want to say that
Yeah.
I share a concern about the water quality. I haven't swum in that pond for a long time because every time I swim in it, I get sick. I did talk to Mike Boudreau from the Board of Health and asked him about testing it for PFAS and microplastics runoff from the high school turf field. And he's open to doing that, but nervous that if it tests positive, he'll have to shut it down. I've been concerned about the water quality, and it makes me hesitant on the shade structure because are we putting money into a beach that is not that tenable over the long term? I don't know. I mean, people love it and all of that, but every year it has a shorter span that is open to the public. So when you figure out the days that beach is actually open to the public, it's not very many days. And we lost a lot of time this summer because of the bacteria count. So I'm all in favor. People should write the Board of Health. It would be great to have Mike Boudreau and others in to talk about the water quality. Thanks.
Can I just jump in before we go to Rick on the topic of water quality testing? Um, the the kinds of things that are causing the algal blooms, that's not PFAS. And the kinds of testing that it would do to look at what those are, being probably fertilizer or septic runoff that's driving what's going on in the pond, that's a lot less expensive and it's a different class of testing. So we might my approach to this would be to do this in a stepwise fashion. Let's do the more basic testing first, see where that goes. And, because the PFAS testing is much more of it's an issue it's a separate test. It's more expensive. So that would be my approach. But again, I think this might be a topic for another day. Because we could go on and on and on about this one topic and we want to get through the CPA stuff.
But I think it's a good idea to put that on the list, Doug, for future CPC or
Coffee with a purpose.
Coffee with a Purpose meeting to talk about those water quality issues. I know Brian would be very happy to have
Yeah.
us do that, and it's a real issue in Natick. Donna, are you okay, or did you?
Well, I just want to quickly say thanks, Sarah. I think a step-by-step approach is good. I called the state. The state does this kind of more sophisticated testing. So, I mean, it's a bigger question, but it's a question that we should come back to somewhere else. Thank you.
Agree. Okay. I'm ready to move on.
Okay.
Move on.
Thank you. All right. So this is the fifth proposal that the CPC is proposing, and it's for the design and permitting for South Natick parks. After 2 years of public engagement, identifying permitting needs, accessibility improvements, recreational enhancements, restoration of natural resources, and design work from Weston and Sampson Engineering, we look forward to taking this project to the next phase of work. Construction documents will be provided at the end of this project to make enhancements to the three parks: Old Town Park at 7 Pleasant Street, Grove Park at 11 Pleasant Street, and multi-purpose space at 23 Pleasant Street. So this is for architectural work, not for the actual physical construction, but it's necessary to move to the next phase, all tied in with the dam removal or the spillway removal, and came before us. It's eligible under the open space, and we supported it 8-0, I believe. So, any questions? This would come out of the open space pocket budget. Let me see which one we're on. Yep. Comes out of the open space bucket. Yes, Cindy.
Not a town meeting member, but I have a comment. When you do this at town meeting, are you showing these slides on a screen at the same time?
Yes.
So I was looking at the 3 images and I can see that there's 3 because there's 3 areas. But I see that the top one and the middle one kind of overlap. And anyway, that's what I was focusing on. It was just my little idiosyncrasy, but whatever.
my not unsophisticated understanding of this is that there are 3 parks that were associated with this area, and with the dam removal, the town committed and rightly to upgrade or take a look at them. They had deteriorated. There were public hearings. I went to one of them, one of the early ones. And
really, my comment was really just about the slide and just the 3 images.
Yeah, okay.
How the
anyway,
first one and the second one are like it looks like it's continuous, but then it's not. And anyway, I think probably I'm the only one that I'm not going to be there. So let it be. Sorry.
I would let the experts answer that question.
It's not a question.
It's a good point, because I've looked at these diagrams hundreds of times and I am still confused as to which park is which. So I think when you present this, you should identify this is the Old Town Park, this is the multi-purpose area, and this is the whatever the third one is.
Martin, just to specifically address that, my understanding is that I really can't advocate for any of these projects. I put the motion on the table and then it goes to town meeting.
But you can still be informative. That's
Yeah, it's not advocating, it's just identifying what this is showing.
My understanding is that I can read the motion and nothing more.
Well, then somebody else can identify them.
Absolutely. Somebody on town meeting can do that. But my understanding is unless the moderator asked me to say something, I do not have permission to speak.
Will this slide even be shown?
Yes, the slide will be shown.
Okay.
Okay, well, I just have one simple question, which is I understand which of the top 2, it's the one on the lower left that I don't know what that is, or where that is, really.
So can I step in for a second?
Please.
So I have been following this project since the dam study committee, way back when, all those years ago, and I went to all of the open meetings for this park conversation, and I put in the last link that I just put in. If you guys are at a computer or able to pull that up, I think it will really, really help you a lot, because it talks about it. I recommend giving that link to anybody who's interested in understanding this project a little better. It will really help. The parks are divided into 3 spaces, into 3 parcels, because they really kind of are 3 parcels. The one north of the river is Old Town Park. The one directly south of the river is Grove Park. And the furthest south one is the South Natick Multi-Purpose Courts. That's where the kids have set up the skateboard, their makeshift skateboard park. It's basketball courts that are not functional. The project, pardon me?
Are those the submerged basketball courts just south of the dam?
Correct.
Yeah.
So if you pull up that link that last link that I put in there and scroll down a little bit, it shows a much better picture, I think, than than the one in the presentation right now, just in terms of understanding what's there. The two the two south of the river parks are connected by like a little alley or like a hallway. I would call it a hallway of green space that is in front of the house that's there that the town owns, and it is considered a part of the earthen dam that retains the water behind the spillway, and that little corridor is what connects those two parks on that side. And so when they're talking about three parks, those are the three parks that they're talking about. And then the little alley that connects the two of them.
Right. Oh my
Yeah, that picture right there that you just scrolled past. Yeah, that picture, I think, does a pretty good job of showing. And then if anybody wants to look at this link on their own, it really does a great job of answering all of these questions. They've done a pretty good job of all of the updates, the designs, the feedback that they've gotten from all of the public meetings that they've held. They've really done a good job of putting these two, in my opinion, these two websites together to explain where the process is. And I don't know that we really need to spend our time talking about them. I think if we want to educate ourselves on them, that these two websites that I've posted on the town website are really fantastic and a wealth of information.
Thanks for that, Brinley. I'll make sure this chat is in the link is in the description on the video. Without taking too much more time, but just seeing that one of the links there is tribal input summary. Does anybody happen to know what their position on this is?
Briefly, just the basics, the basis, my understanding is they were really for restoring the river for a lot of reasons. You can read the rest of it if you want more, but their basis was that they were really excited to have the river restored.
Cool. All right, go back to the whoops.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you. Thank you, Brinley.
Here we go. All right, great. On to the next one.
That's my favorite one. And the description is long, but not too long. Nearly 200 men from Natick fought during the American Revolutionary War, and 42 of them served at the Battle of Bunker Hill under Natick's own Captain James Mann. When the state archives began publishing official records of Revolutionary War soldiers and sailors in 1896, Natick's Bunker Hill muster roll remained in the home of Captain Mann's great-great-granddaughter. Today, the muster roll is in the collections of the Natick Historical Society and is the only surviving record of these 42 Natick soldiers having served in the Battle of Bunker Hill. On the eve of the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, the Natick Historical Society requests CPA funds to conserve, preserve, and digitize Natick's Bunker Hill muster roll so that it will remain a community treasure for many generations to come. Total cost $10,000, and they expect it'll take 3 months. There's a professional group that does this. They picked the best one in the area or maybe in the country. And this is a really cool document because those folks were never identified in any of the regional or state or federal records. This is all new. So anyway, I'll stop. Very, very cool. Goes under historic preservation. And hopefully it'll sail through without a lot of discussion. But does anybody have anything they want to add or ask?
3 cheers.
Yeah, 3 cheers. Does anybody know whether there's current descendants of these families currently living in Natick that are and kind of what their awareness is of that this is new information?
Doug, during the discussion, the one thing that I heard, and I can't read it, is that there are names on there that we will recognize, names that are street names, names that are known to Natick residents that are represented in this document. So it's pretty exciting, pretty cool.
Cool. Kathleen?
Kathleen.
Yeah, I can't speak to the specifics of this document or those names, but I just wanted to say what's probably obvious, but these one-off unique items are what local historical societies and your local public library strive to preserve, and it takes money to save them. But in many cases, there's one copy, as has been said here, and that's it. So it's a wonderful opportunity to preserve Natick history. And again, the historical associations and the public libraries are really the ones who are doing it, and then with the digitization, making it available to everybody.
Tom?
Yeah.
I recommend that the names that you just talked about be mentioned at town meeting. I think that will help seal the deal.
Thank you. I can't do that, but a town meeting member could. I don't know whether the Historic Association will be represented there or that question will be asked, but it's a great one. Jay, good
Then I
to hear you.
recommend that somebody from the Natick Historical Society be there. For example, Nikki.
Yep.
He has appeared before and sealed the deal on a number of proposals.
Yeah.
I'm sure Terry Evans will also be there and will be a great
Yes.
resource.
Yeah. So is it Jay or is it Ricky down at the Ball
Yeah,
household?
no, it's Ricky.
Yeah.
I'd like to know if the actual physical document has been treated by an archivist who will preserve the physical document for, posterity.
That's what this is for, Ricky.
No, but
The answer is
thought
no. The answer is no. It's in a preserved case, in a document, in a piece of I don't know, cellophane or whatever. And it's been that way since they got it. This money is to do exactly what you're saying, have a professional archivist renew, restore, preserve, copy. That's what we're asking for.
Oh, well, I maybe I misunderstood. I thought it said to have it digitized.
That's part of it.
Oh, that's only part of it. Okay.
Preserve
Yeah.
and digitize.
Yeah, so there'll be a digital copy that will be available for people online, but the physical document will also be restored and preserved.
Great. That's my concern. Thank you.
Yep.
So it could be reproduced in the event of a fire, for instance.
Yeah.
Well, not the original.
No.
Not the original, but at least we'll have record of
the
it.
information.
The information will be preserved.
And as Catherine says, instead of having it sit in a drawer at the Natick Historical Society, it's available not only in the Natick Public Library, but to anyone who is researching this in the country or worldwide, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
I agree, Bill. I think this is the coolest thing. This is the kind of historical preservation money I envisioned with the CPA funds. So I'm really excited about this one.
Yeah.
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 Cool.
And Tom, I think, makes a good point. There might be some folks in town that might not necessarily be huge history buffs, but with all of the square dedications and the proud history this town has of defending the country. Separate topic. All right, should we go on?
Absolutely.
Whoops, going the wrong direction. Here we go. The big one.
So this is the big one, 5 Auburn Street. Let me read you what is on this piece of paper in front of me, and we'll go from there. The 5 Auburn Street development includes the preservation and adaptive reuse of the historic Elliott School, along with the construction of a new building, resulting in the creation of 32 high-quality, affordable apartments for households earning up to 60% of area median income. The preservation of Elliott School's historic architecture is a top priority for the project, and the school will include apartments as well as a community room and office space for the property manager. The new construction building will be ADA accessible and will pursue passive house certification. Metro West CD will purchase the site from the town of Natick, maintain ownership of the property, and ensure all apartments are created will remain 100% affordable in perpetuity. Total project cost, this is not right in front of me. They're asking for $750,000 of CPA funding, and the total project is in the 20 million plus range, and that's not what I have in front of me. So this is the one that we expect there to be lively discussion at town meeting. And there are folks who are passionately for and against this project. So this is what we're proposing. Basically, CPC is recommending that CPA funds be used to support this project. Let me put it that way. And the recommendation was 6-1 with no abstentions at the committee hearing.
Before we go into conversation, I just want to say, Doug, that last link that I just put in there is the design, is the updated design and what the elevations and what it kind of looks like. If you want to pull that up, because I think it's a better representation than the overtop aerial view.
Let me just get down to it. Is this what you're talking about? Friendly?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
So if you see that the picture at the top, yeah, that gives an idea, a little bit better idea. Sometimes I think looking at flat squares and rectangles doesn't help with the vision.
Yeah.
Right.
I have a question just at the outset. Bill, you were saying obviously correctly that there are folks that are vigorously in support and vigorously against this project. Are there folks that are for the project but against the use of CPA funds for it? Did anybody?
I don't think so, but I don't know that.
Yeah. It strikes me that that would be an interesting position to, but.
This is another case where there's precedent around the state to use CPA funds for the development of affordable housing units through nonprofit development. So, I mean, it is a perfect usage of the funding. So that would be interesting. I don't know on what grounds someone might have that.
To Doug's question, the only thing that comes to my mind is that the public hearing on this, actually, I think it was a hearing we had 5 nights of hearings, and I don't remember which night this was said on. It might not have been the night that we actually discussed 5 Auburn Street, but there was a person who said we really should have been saving all this money to buy open space and not to be using it for housing. So there is some sentiment out there of like, this is the wrong use for CPA funding. I will say that when we did our public outreach, we held a series of focus groups and informational sessions and did one of those flash votes. And, the public outreach we did, affordable housing kept coming to the top as the issue that the town was most concerned about. So I throw those two conflicting statements out there for your consideration.
We can go to Cindy's question, but Brindley, I'd also just ask you on this link, are there other places that shall I just kind of gradually scroll through it? Yeah, these are just depictions, I guess.
Yes, Doug, I was just trying to get those pictures there. You can leave it on that one. You can leave it on whichever one you want. I just wanted to make sure that everybody was able to see.
Yeah.
Because when you're looking at rectangles, it doesn't really, it's not easy to understand scope.
Yeah, I like this one with 3 different things. But Cindy, go ahead.
Could you go back one up the picture? Thank you. So So I just have a comment for if there's any way to change the first slide, that the image that it should have which way is north on it. And this one is good because it actually shows the river. I just thinking of the person has never seen this particular plan, and just to just to be oriented, and just having a north arrow is at least, and then making it clear who has ever, whatever. I guess you can't orient people to the picture when you're just presenting the motion, but here's the Charles River, here's Pleasant, whatever the Elliott Street, right?
Yeah.
So Cindy, are you saying compared to this one that doesn't show?
Just if this is the slide, just add a north arrow, but then who's ever, like, if somebody could just tell people what they're looking at so they know which way is the Charles River and which way is Elliott Street, Route 16.
Cindy, you're a woman after my own heart for one at North Arrow. When I was a TA in grad school, I would mark my students down if they didn't put a north arrow.
So I see it on the original, and then somebody cropped it.
Cool. Martin.
Yeah, can you scroll up a bit to the diagram? Yeah, this one here. So there's a rather sloppy drawing on the Natick report and some other people who don't like this project that show the new building, which is the building on the left, towering over the old building, like 3 times the size of the old building, which is totally incorrect. I don't know why that got on there, but as you can see, the old building is actually, particularly with the cupola, is much taller, and it doesn't dominate like to a huge extent, but it does dominate the old historic building does dominate the new building. So I think it's important that people look at the correct diagram.
Where did you say that other is? It's in a Natick report article?
Natick report has a really sloppy, I think they got it off of, I don't know where they got it, but I've seen it somewhere.
Yeah.
I saw it. Yeah.
But it's
Rick,
important.
you've got to, yeah. I guess this borders on advocacy, but I'm sure Bob from Brown, right? Is that his name, from Natick Report?
Yep.
Might be appreciative of that information. I wonder whether he would consider,
That's probably true,
you
yeah.
know, seeing.
Did write one of the public commenters who had posted that, saying it was totally incorrect. And he gave this convoluted argument that it was correct, and he wasn't very cooperative, but I'm sure Bob Brown would be a bit more cooperative. Anyway, I have another point, which is that that I think there are people who favored this project initially with the budget that was proposed, and I did mention this last time, but now that the budget is increased by $750,000, there's a lot of questioning as to how much town money really should be put into this one particular project, that the funding is getting a little bit out of hand, so people claim. And they're wondering, you know, what is the bottom line? What is the real cost going to actually end up being?
And Martin, when you say that the project budget is increased, are you talking about the overall 20 million plus budget, or?
Let me address that, Doug, if I could. The initial request to the Community Preservation Committee was for $500,000 to support this project. In the letter of interest, which is the document they put in to say we want to submit money for CPA consideration. When the final came in, it was $750,000. So that $250,000 increase is a concern among several people, including one of the members on our committee.
Right. I thought Martin might also be referring to the overall project.
Yeah, the overall project, because the initial budget that the ZBA approved, the town obviously sold the property for $1, which supposedly is worth $2 million. So this town has put in that type of commitment. $600,000, I believe, from Affordable Housing Trust, but that was supposed to be the end of the town's commitment to the project, and then. When they came up short, they asked for another 500,000, and then later another 250 on top of the 500. So I think some people are seeing this as like a thing gone amok, out of control. I wouldn't use those terms, but there certainly is concern about budgets not keeping to the original budget.
It's interesting to me that people are so concerned about that, because there's a precedent for housing development in other communities where the municipalities themselves contribute a significant portion of the cost to develop that because of the unquantifiable benefit that it provides to a community. The amount that they're asking for from CPC represents 3% of the budget to construct this project. And the money coming from the housing trust, which has also been under fire, is money that can only be spent on affordable housing. So we shouldn't be concerned about that. They're using their money in a manner that is missionally aligned with what the trust is. So, and again, this money that is given through municipal sources all benefits the project by leveraging other funders, particularly at the state level, to say, oh, here's a community that is supportive of developing affordable housing, and every dollar invested through the CPC will reap $30 in funding at the state level. So I just wanted to throw some of that out.
1 to 30. Wow. I did not know
Yes.
that. Pat.
Yeah, I was just going to make a brief comment. I think it looks a lot better, and it seems a lot cheaper than Trump's new ballroom. East Wing. And I was just wondering if Martin or somebody could summarize. I missed the hearing, so in a nutshell, what are, aside from some of the ones that are, what's the opposition to it? Anybody want to just summarize that a little bit?
I would, if you're okay, I'd love to chime in for a second.
Yeah.
So I think that there's, to me, what's really important for this town meeting, I'm not saying that we have to do that right now, but I think what's really important for me in this town meeting is to understand that we shouldn't be discussing anything outside of whether or not this is a good use of our CPA funds. This shouldn't be relitigating the project itself because the project has already been determined. It's already in process, and this isn't about that. This is about us and the CPA funds, and whether or not we think that this is an appropriate use of our affordable housing component of our CPA funds. Secondly, to answer your question more directly, Pat, I think that a lot of the people who are in direct opposition of this are still trying to relitigate that part. They're still trying to say that this project is just too big for this spot and shouldn't happen, which is an entirely different conversation.
I get it.
And they're also saying that it's going to cost us money, that it's costing us more and more money, when in reality, it's not actually costing us money because we're not, to Judy's point, we're not actually spending regular general fund taxpayer dollars on this. The CPA funds, again, are only allowed to go to certain buckets. This fills those buckets. And the affordable housing money is only allowed to go to affordable housing. So it fills that bucket. So this isn't actually an ask of taxpayer money for something else. It's not a debt exclusion. It's not an override. It's not taking money away from something else that's there. Their argument is that, well, if we had sold the property, we would have $2 million. But this particular conversation at town meeting can't be about that because we're past that part. We're past that part. So,
but just to play devil's advocate, if to whatever extent the request is in excess of the minimum percentage that would have to go for affordable housing, there is a choice, isn't there? That
correct.
If less were spent
but that's my
on
point. We should be talking about that and not anything else because that's really all that's pertinent on the floor of town meeting is whether or not we want to be a town that supports giving our CPA funds in quantity to an affordable housing project or not. I think that's where the real conversation needs to happen. I'm happy to share my thoughts about that on this project, but that's where I feel like I'm really guessing that Jeff, our town moderator, is going to probably keep it to that because I think seems to be very, very much within scope. And so on the town meeting floor, what's going to be in scope is whether or not we want these funds this year to go to this project.
Yeah, that's the
long
thought
second.
about Jeff controlling the commentary to limit the discussion is a good one. I know Frank had done that in the past on very divisive topics that would seem to grow legs during the town meeting period. Donna, you had your hand up.
Yes, I have two comments. I've supported this project from its inception. I think it's wonderful. I think it's a great location. I think it's all good. I wasn't happy with the increase in the ask for CPA funds, but over time, I've thought about it, and I'm not a lawyer these days. I think it would have been a much better career choice given everything in the courts, but I I just it's not clear to me. I think there's no purchase and sale agreement for this property yet, and I do think the town would have some legal responsibility to um, mitigate some of the environmental hazards on this property, like the oil tanks that are buried, et cetera. So, I mean, the increase in the ask, I'm okay with it. I was a little concerned about the recent conservation committee meeting where they said, because of the proximity to the Charles River, that it really needs tighter consideration than what's being used. But that was written by the Browns, and they said in the article that they are neighbors. They're not direct abutters, but they do live in that area. So they at least were open about that. So, I mean, my concerns are still environmental, but I am looking forward to voting for this, like I voted for the fully accessible train station. I mean, at the end of the day, it'll be one of those town meeting votes that I think I'll be very proud of. Thanks.
I agree.
Thank you.
Doug, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
I know this is, I got, the question was out of scope to kind of the discussion here, but I was just curious, somebody could review for me on CPA like Bill or Sarah, the CPA funds, are they, do they have to be kind of like one third that, one third that, or how are you just at liberty to use the funds however the proposals come in? You know, is it supposed to be one third housing, one third historical preservation? No, it's not like that. Okay, I just,
Let me address that, Pat. The law, the act requires us to spend a minimum of 10% of the money we get for affordable housing, another 10% for recreation and open space, and a third 10% for historic preservation.
Okay.
Above that, if you think of that, that's 30%. Then we can do some administrative stuff. And then there's this big pot, 65 to 70%. That can be used for any of the projects.
Yeah, okay, got it.
And the other thing that I think it's worth mentioning is that that's an overtime thing, so we don't have to empty out each bucket each year.
I see.
Right.
If no project comes before us in a given year for a particular category, or if a project comes that we just don't think it's well thought out, or we don't choose to recommend it to town meeting for whatever reason, that money sits and accumulates in that bucket until and it can't be spent for something else. So it sits there and accumulates till a good use of it appears before us.
Okay.
So if we were to explain that in a
right?
So if we were to explain that in a different way, we would say that if we didn't spend our 10% on historical preservation this year, that bucket next year would be 20% and not just the 10%, because that 10% has to stay in that bucket.
Correct.
Okay.
May I ask a quick question to Bill? Can you remind me of the total bucket, the total funds that are available for these 2 years that we have available to us?
It's in the $2.5 million range.
Okay.
So we're getting about $1.25 million a year. We get supplemental funds from the state And then theoretically, we have interest income that I have to pursue. And those funds just, if we don't spend them, they accumulate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was just trying to figure out sort of $750,000 is really going at 2 years of funding, right? And so
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. Of course, there are other projects.
What percentage is it of, it looks like it's about 30% of the total bucket. So I just wanted to check the numbers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Ricky?
So,
Oh, sorry, Brinley, keep going.
no, go ahead. Ricky can go. That's fine.
It seems to me that in the timeline of the project, the upfront, the place that they're at right now is to coalesce the long-range funding for the project. And the main factor that the ability to leverage whatever money comes in at the very beginning is what counts here. And that's why the maximum amount of money that's available, the 750 that's available, is being proposed, because at that time you can leverage that money to its highest level. This is not something that's going to come up every year. This is the way I see it, I may be wrong, but the way I see it, this is where it is at the very beginning of the process. And this is where we get the highest return for the money invested. And if I'm correct, I think this is the point that needs to be made, that down the road, 6 years from now, whatever money comes in for housing, for CPA, there'll be more support for the project because of what we've invested at the very beginning. If I'm wrong, please disabuse me, but this is the way I see it. And I think if it's right, that's the real point that we have to make.
Let me jump in, Ricky. I think you're spot on, but a couple of things that we haven't said yet, I just want to share. The company that the nonprofit organization that's doing this project said in their public hearings that they have tried on 5 different occasions to find a suitable location in Natick and failed. This is the 5th time. So they've been unsuccessful 4 times in a row. So this is the 5th opportunity they have. It's my view, once in a lifetime, in the sense that you don't get 32 units at one time very often. So I wanted to point out that. The other thing I wanted to say was this money is restricted to construction. Construction is not anticipated to begin until 2028. So the money will be put aside and only used for construction, which could be a couple of years from now. The Community Preservation Committee has the authority to determine how long the sponsor has to spend the money. That is up to the Community Preservation Committee, and we can make that a 3-year commitment. So I just wanted to throw those points out, but I think you're spot on in your comments. So thank you. Brinley?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate what you just said, Bill. I think that Ricky is spot on, and I do think that that's the argument that a lot of us have been using for this, that it is a once in a generation opportunity. Who knows if there'll be another opportunity even in any recent years, because property is at a premium and shrinking in Natick. So there aren't actually a lot of other properties where this type of deeply affordable rental units could be done, where it's the whole thing. I know that next year there'll be something for a house piece of property, but it's really not the same as the rental. And I actually think for me in my CPA dollars that we've been putting in, I'm really happy for it to go to this. I think it's critical. I think we have seniors that have been looking for housing that can't stay in town because there just isn't housing available for them. We have paraprofessionals. We have DPW workers. We have town staff and employees who would probably love to apply for this. We have kids just coming out of college who are taking jobs that don't pay a lot of money, but they're working their butts off and they need somewhere to live. I pretty much live in the real estate world, and I can say that, if you look at what's happening downtown where those rents are are not cheap. They're not cheap. When you're looking at $3,200 a month, $3,500 a month, even $2,800 a month, we were talking about this last week with Cindy, talking about what's going to happen in terms of $1,500 a month. We're in desperate need of this. And to me, this is exactly what affordable housing money should go to for our CPA funds.
Thanks, Brinley. Pat?
I was just going to make one quick comment. It appears to me that you're ready for the budget hawks at town meeting. So good luck. God bless you.
Thank you. Yeah, it is 10:30. We look forward to the meeting Tuesday, and hopefully everyone will come and support these projects that they believe in, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Well, good luck with it, Bill, and thanks to you and everyone else on the committee, Sarah, for all of the work you guys have been doing.
Good job, guys.
Great. So we usually reserve the end for various announcements. I will mention as well next Monday, because hopefully, town meeting will be over. We'll turn away from town meeting. Deborah Mitchell's gonna join us. She was going to talk about a variety of topics. I think she probably will, but I think her focus wants to be on just how dire the situation has gotten for people of color in this country under the current administration. So that'll be, and I believe she's probably going to invite Bishop Kelly to join her, as she likes to do. Brinley, what have you got for us? There's got to be something, right? Whoop.
Oh, sorry, I was having a hard time. So I made a mistake last week. I said that the select board meeting with the results was last week, and I was not paying attention to my calendar. Sorry, it's this Wednesday. So this Wednesday is the select board meeting where they're going to talk about the results of the forum, the public forum on the 7th. Those results have been posted. If you go to the Johnson Property Project website on the town's website, you can see the results of those. They're going to talk about that. They're going to present it, and they're going to talk about whether or not they want to create hire a consultant to look at some of those options. My hope is that they don't hire a consultant before the town's had a say, and we've had a little bit different of a conversation, because I think it's putting the cart before the horse. But they are going to talk about that, and so if you have opinions, it's great to express them. And then they will be talking also about that at school committee tonight, because the town requested all departments and committees and boards to submit their thoughts about Johnson property and their needs for what they see as potential in town for that. So the school committee is going to be conversing about that tonight.
Thanks. And